I'm Luigi from Nottingham Trent University, and what I'm going to talk to you about is assessed work-like learning experience within our bioscience provision. In academics, they love an acronym. We've created this AWLE. It's not the greatest acronym, but I will be referring to AWLE as I go through the talk, rather than trying to keep saying assessed work-like learning. So what is assessed work-like learning? Well, how we've interpreted this is really educational activities where students have the opportunity to showcase their skills, their knowledge, and their competencies. Thank you. Their skills and their competencies in a real-world-like setting with the support from employers. So this is something that we commenced last academic year, in the 22-23 academic year. We've rolled it out to all of our undergraduate bioscience courses, for example, biochemistry, biomedical science, pharmacology, microbiology, etc. And we're implementing 240 hours of this AWLE across all of those courses. We've integrated it into our course curricula, and in essence, what we are doing is collaborating with industry partners, and of this, we sort of reignited our bioscience employer advisory group. So this is something that was rolling year on year. We've managed to reignite it with some new blood, and they've really helped to support and embed this work-like learning into our modules. I'm going to jump back to that slide, but what I want to show you first is really some of the things that have helped drive what we want to do within our modules. So what you see on the screen here is some data that's come from the QS Intelligence Unit and the Institute of Student Employers. And what you see is they've ranked the various different skills that they want to see from graduates, from problem solving right at the top there, down to commercial awareness. The light blue is their employer's importance score, and the darker blue is their satisfaction score. And what you can see on virtually every single parameter is that there's a shortfall in terms of the expectation of industry and what our graduates are actually achieving. So this has sort of helped us to drive what we might do to try and close that gap. So what we've tried to do, therefore, is embed professional attributes into our modules. This involves employer partners, a range of different employer partners, and what they're doing is shaping the assessments that we're delivering to students. They're also contributing to some of the sessions. They're also feeding back to students. And what we're finding is that students, by receiving information from somebody right in that industry, they're seeing the value, they're engaging better, and we're hopefully going to see outcomes from this. As we say, we've only rolled this out last year, and we're looking, so our level 4 students who entered our biosciences courses last year have experienced this. They're now into their second year, level 5s, and they will work through and experience work-like learning throughout their course. So what I want to do is really just show you some examples from our biochemistry degree of how we've implemented this. You can see the structure of the degree program. I guess that's not really important. What you can see in red are the modules where we've already embedded work-like learning, AWLE, and the purple ones are the ones where we're looking to implement them from next year, and we've piloted activities to help us install that for next academic year. So if I give you some examples, starting with Introduction to Biochemistry, one of our level 4 modules taken by virtually all our bioscience courses, an introductory module, 320, 350 students on that module. And what we've generated is a competency test with support from our industry partner in this, which was Crown Bioscience. So what students are doing is actually weighing out a powder, generating a molarity solution, pHing that solution, and they're combining that with a set of calculations, looking at percent weight, looking at pH calculations, And they're implementing this within a timed assessment. They have to come into the lab, they get practice to actually do this, and how the employers helped is they've helped by shaping that assessment, they've introduced that assessment, highlighting the importance of good laboratory practice and how this is implemented within their particular industry. They've then fed back to the students after the assessment, identifying how a laboratory career, opportunities for professional development within a particular laboratory environment. So the skills that the students have gained here, again, are technical, subject knowledge, organisation and resilience. And again, fitting back into the QS intelligence unit's guidelines in terms of where those shortfalls are. If I move to level 5, our industry partner here was Boots. What they've done is help shape an assessment, I would say a multi-component assessment, because this is, rather than just one assessment point, students are generating outputs across a series of workshops, laboratory sessions, which they then collate as part of a portfolio of work. And this is all based around recombinant protein production and purification. So students undergo various workshops, working in groups to actually take on case studies. They're also implementing aspects of costings. They're also undertaking various calculations in terms of purifying the protein-specific activity type things. Again, the employer has supported this by help to shape the assessment. They have generated, for example, an advert for a job within their particular industry, and students are then generating this portfolio to align with that advert, showcasing the different activities and workshops that they've undertaken. The employer has also engaged with students through an online tour, so we were hoping to have the students visit, but it was difficult at that particular point in time, so we've managed to have an online tour of the laboratory sessions, and again, the students really engaged with that. And if we look at a level 6 example, this is something that we're looking to implement next year, and we've been in discussions with a company Source Bioscience, and again, their input has been pivotal really to identify perhaps where students are lacking some key areas of knowledge. So in this particular module, students are handling big data. An example is they're taking data sequences from the International Space Station, genome sequences, doing alignments and identifying what microbes are there from these big data sets. And similarly, they're using Illumina sequence data to identify differential gene expression using statistical approaches, principal component analysis, for example, and they're using R to actually analyze these data sets. But what our employer has identified is perhaps there's a shortfall in knowledge in terms of when students are handling the data prior to the Illumina sequence, the raw data itself. And if you're in the know, I'm not a bioinformatician, it's the data that precedes the FASTQ data that they identified is something that's missing, and we're trying to implement that now into those assessments. And again, the employer is engaging with us and will be delivering aspects of this in our provision. And finally, something that we culminate in, and something that you might be very familiar with, is a research poster conference event. And we've successfully delivered this just last week for our final year students. And we'll be implementing this as we go forward as part of our AWLE. And we've had, I think it was 12 to 14 employers join us on the poster conference day. Again, sharing, networking, sharing best practice, talking to our students, highlighting opportunities for a range of different careers, but primarily sort of bioscience focused at this point in time. Feedback, the terms of feedback we've got, and again, this is just based on this year from our students at level 4 and level 5. The module evaluation surveys, you may have your own versions of this. 5 is the ultimate goal here, but we're seeing scores of 4 in excess, which we're very happy with. And just some comments. Students can see that they understand or they like the link between the knowledge from the lectures and the labs and the seminars. It puts what we learn into perspective, which is, I guess, a good showcase for what we're doing. And very quickly, if I can, the challenges. In terms of implementing this, the reality of it is trying to align employer availability with a course timetable has been a challenge. Employer time is difficult, is really difficult. And so we've really had to work with our employers and really create those friendships to allow us to do that. Resources will often come into play, and how sustainable can we keep this? Our employers are keen to do this, but can they do this year on year? And therefore, where we're looking at is the use of alumni who are entering these particular businesses to help support us. So in summary, I guess what it shows is that we've got students engaging more with our teaching, and students experience a range of different assessments that are more authentic, that prepare them for real-world life experiences. Just highlight my acknowledgements. Karen, who couldn't be here, has been a key player here, but a number of employers. I would like to point out Dr. Jade Irwin, Dr. Claire O'Connor, and Dr. Ewan Johnston, who have specifically helped us with those modules that I gave you examples of. Thank you.